the Avoca River in Arklow, County Wicklow. In such a tranquil setting filled with nature, few would guess that according to the EPA, the river is one of the most polluted in Ireland. There are two reasons for this. The first source of pollution is the raw sewage that has been pumped into the river for decades. Back as early as 1993, there were discussions in the town for the development of a sewage treatment plant, but a drawn-out legal battle between On Board Planala and Arklow Holidays Limited, who own the caravan park next to the development site, means that there is still no such plant. Arklow Holidays Limited took the legal battle to the High Court, claiming that the Seabank beach and dunes would suffer damage if the development went ahead. Finally, in 2011, a Supreme Court ruling meant that the development could proceed. Almost 10 years later, there is still no treatment plant in Arklow. The latest update from Irish Water is that construction will begin in 2020 and that the plant will be completed in approximately 3 years. On crossing the fabled 19 Arches Bridge, it is clear to see the damage done by the years of pollution. A brief look down from the bridge often reveals coagulated sewage gathered near the more shallow areas by the quays. For locals, seeing groups of tourists holding their noses as they cross the bridge is a familiar yet embarrassing sight during the summertime. Aside from damaging the reputation of the town, it is the damage to the health of the locals that is the biggest concern. Donald Power is just one of many people in the town to become seriously ill after going for a swim at Arklow Beach, where the Avoca River flows out to.
When I got in, it was a rough. I liked the rough sea, and I got into the rough. But when I got in, I noticed that it was scummy and sewage around me. And I said, "Oh no!" And believe it or not, the very next day I was up in the doctor's. A brief examination of my leg showed that it was very red from the heel right up beyond my knee up to my thigh. And as soon as I went down to the care doctor, one look at my leg and she said, "You're a very sick man, you've got to go straight to hospital." So I was put on an intravenous drip and antibiotics, very strong antibiotics, double dose for the best part of a week. And unfortunately I had to give up swimming, which was a passion with me because I could swim for 2 or 3 miles on a Sunday, up and down the beach a couple of times. And I also did a bit of scuba diving. I was a qualified rescue diver. The doctor said it's not far from sepsis, and that's why they were very concerned. And they took it very seriously up in the hospital as well.
The second source of pollution comes from the legacy of the Avoca mines, which were shut down in 1982. The river is still heavily contaminated with leachate from the abandoned mines. Such was the level of contamination from the mines that the Avoca River was declared a dead river from the 60s up until the late 90s, when fish started appearing again thanks to the implementation of the EU Life project. According to marine biologist Stephen Kavanagh, who runs a marine health food business just outside of the town, the cleanup effort will be a huge undertaking. In an email, Stephen said, "To clear that up is a massive undertaking. You would need to prevent further leaching into the river and remove gravel already contaminated. Wicklow County Council are looking at this, but it is a very complex issue. Measures include removal of contaminated gravels and dikes to prevent leached metals from the mines entering the waterway." Arklow councillor Pierre Leonard is in agreement with Stephen regarding the size of the task at hand, but she is very enthusiastic about the prospect of depolluting the Avoca River.
As a local councillor, this will be top of my agenda to reignite a plan to remedy this. I believe it is our duty to at least try to reverse the damage that has been done to the Avoca River in our lifetimes for the future generations. This would indeed be an intergenerational project, but it could be a fantastic educational project.
The issue of the contamination in the Avoca River is unfortunately just a small part of a bigger story of water pollution in Ireland. The 2019 EPA report, which followed a 6-year study, included 6 estuaries, 9 rivers and 10 lakes described as the worst of the worst. Locals like Donald Power believe swimming at Arklow beaches is no longer safe for families.
Well, it's a matter of fact. Everybody knows that the water down there is polluted. It has to be because the whole town's sewage system is going into the river, and the river is going into the sea. And where's the sewage going? And strange enough, I was walking along the beach there not recently, and I met a man who had worked in Roadstone, and he told me, we were talking about the sea and the environment, and he said to me, that every time a cargo ship would come in to load or unload, they'd always complain or be amazed at the amount of sewage that would be churned up by the propellers when it's starting, when they're set, when they start to go out again, out to sea. All kinds of sewage would come up, you know, and unsightly, unsavoury stuff, and a lot of flotsam and jetsam and toilet paper and whatnot. But it's gone on far too long, and I wouldn't recommend for children to get into the water or families to go down there, because it's only when you talk to people, and which I have spoken to a lot of people really, and they'll say how sick they got during the summer, or, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Ended up being sick after going for a swim. So it's just that people don't come together to voice their opinion. You know, it's only when you get the chance to talk to somebody, or you bump into someone and have a friendly chat, you realise how bad the situation really is.